everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of the Field of Skye Knitting and Making podcast. I'm happy you're here. I have a lot of exciting things to talk about today, but first, my name is Rachel. I'm a 31-year-old artist living in the Raleigh area in North Carolina with my husband, JD, and my son, my 2-year-old son, Denali. And we just bought our first house. And we're settling in and really loving the process. It's been a bit intense. Anyone who's moved anywhere knows that moving is intense and it's a process to get settled, but little by little we're getting there, and I'm especially excited to have our office settled, like our office creative space settled. That's like kind of our last room we need to work on. But yeah, especially because all my crafting stuff is in there and I want to be able to use it more easily. So anyways, I want to first talk about what I'm wearing. So this is a crochet, you see the bottom of it there. This is a crochet, I guess it's kind of a sweater, short sleeve sweater that I made this past summer. It's made out of cotton, which was a great experience because the only time I'd ever used cotton before has been for dishcloths. So it's like that really rough, cheap feeling cotton that is good for scrubbing dishes, and you don't really it lasts a long time. You don't worry about throwing it around, getting it dirty, and just go in the wash. But this kind of cotton was just like really beautiful to work with. And I didn't use a pattern, but I was heavily inspired by a couple of Pinterest, a couple crochet shirts I found on Pinterest. Sorry, I have like hair everywhere. So I'll link those down below because I want to give proper credit to my inspiration. But yeah, I basically just kind of learned, like I looked up different stitches, and every row is essentially a different stitch out of a different color. And it's basically just 2 squares, square in the back. I did a little bit of shaping around the neck here, so you can see the stripes. This is the last stripe that goes all the way across, and I've got 3 stripes that go up the shoulder, and then I kind of crocheted a collar around it just so that my head could get in easier. And then I basically just like picked up stitches around the edge for sleeves and did some rows there. It was very simple and just really fun, switching colors and playing around with what colors would look good next to what. And this was my first like super colorful project that I made this past summer, and it just brought me a lot of joy. So it's a 70-degree day here in North Carolina, at least this area in North Carolina. Beginning of February, of course, we're gonna have 70-degree days, but I thought it was a good day to wear a short-sleeved summery top because that's just how it feels outside. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions about this. I don't really know what else to say about it except that it's really fun, was very easy, and I learned a lot of different stitches, which was, a fun experience. But yeah, so there's that. Okay, let's just jump right into works in progress. Last episode, I told you I was really hoping to get this Stephen West Starry sweater finished before this episode. That didn't happen. I did get something else finished that I can show later, which I'm really excited about. But this sweater, I did get the back panel finished. That was where I was at 2 weeks ago. You see, okay, so here's the front. Y'all have already seen this. This is your 3rd time seeing this, but this back panel is new. I I knitted this whole back panel and sewed up my side seams. So now the back of this sleeve and the back of this is all connected. So this is all one piece. Now all that's left is, you see this giant opening here. This is the top. I have to pick up stitches along here, here, and here, and knit a shoulder piece on this side and this side, and then of course the collar. And then I think there's also a triangular piece that connects. Sorry, I know this is hard to see. There's a triangular piece. See, it slants all the way down. There's a triangular piece that connects this front with this back and, you know, gives a little more coverage on this side. But that's it. I just have this shoulder and collar to finish, and then this little triangular piece, and then it's done. So I'm really hoping, also those of you who voted for the blue, what do you think? I am happy I went with a bright color just because it just gives it a nice pop, and it's not the majority of the back. You know, the majority of the back are this brown and then this like goldish color. So it doesn't feel overwhelming to me. And it was really fun to add in because I'd been knitting, this is an entire skein of this brown yarn, and I just knitted the whole skein to see how far it would get me. Then I knitted all my scraps of this. I had a little ball left, and then I just knitted the rest of it in this blue. So it was fun switching to a bright color. I think I'm doing this teal, dark teal color for the shoulder pieces. And then I have a royal blue that's gonna go here. So a couple more blues coming, which I'm excited about. But yeah, so this is the Stephen West Starry sweater. I'll link it down below. It's very interesting construction, been a lot of fun to work with, and I'm excited to wear it soon. Okay, but the work in progress I am the most excited about, and I honestly can't believe, yeah, I'll just show it to you. But so last time I shared that I was designing a cardigan that I'm calling my Magical Son Cardigan, and it'll have an intarsia knit back panel with a design that's the Magical Sun design that I made. And my goal was to just get it on the needles by this podcast so I could kind of show you I have it as an official work in progress instead of it being just in the design process. And I do have it on my needles, and I have a lot more done than I was expecting to have. So hold on, I've got a lot of yarn over here. Let me make sure I don't break anything. Okay, first let me show you the design itself. So I have more of it colored. I have essentially all of it colored that I'm going to color because I know that the rest of this to this corner is this lime green. That's not the exact green, but that's the color pencil I had. And then all of this corner is going to be green as well. And then this is white. This is white up here, but the rest of it is colored in the way it's going to be. So yeah, you can't see the squiggly sun in there as easily, but the yarn itself should have more contrast than that, and I'm excited about it. Oh, and you'll also see that I actually decided, so there's this brown outline around kind of the inside of the sun, and I decided to just knit the entire thing brown all the way across and then go back when it's done and do a duplicate stitch embroidery over top of the brown there's 3 different colors in here. There's this orange, this like, it'll be a reddish brown, like a rusty red, and then a like hot pink magenta middle. And I just think that'll be easier than doing all the intarsia, because as you can see, it's already a lot of colors to manage. And I've been wanting to do some duplicate stitch anyways, just to learn the technique. So I think that'll be a good opportunity. I think that'll make more sense. It'll make more sense when I'm doing it and can show you. Hopefully some of this is kind of making sense. But yeah, I love it. It's been really, really fun. Every single row is different. So this half right here is the equivalent of 60 rows. And then the top here is 60 rows. So this is right down the middle. And I'm about right here. I'm at like my 47th, 48th row or something. So I'm almost to halfway. And that's just crazy to me because I was just hoping to have like it cast on, and I've gotten all this done. It's definitely not quick. It's very tedious. Every single row I have to pay attention to where I'm at. And it's not one of those knitting projects where you just kind of pick up and knit and not pay attention to what you're doing. So when I'm able to pay attention to it, this is the project I get. When I want more of like a, knit while I'm watching a movie and I'm actually paying attention to the movie kind of knit, I pick up a different project. But this has been so much fun. Anyways, let's actually show you what it looks like. So I have it pinned to my blocking mat so you can kind of see it stretched out. But look how pretty. So you can kind of see the start of the swirl here, and then here's some sun rays. And then as you can see, it's just kind of this like brown blob in the middle, and that's what's gonna be duplicate stitched over. And I chose brown because the outline was already brown, but also because my brown yarn is like the thinnest, has the thinnest gauge. And I wanna be able to stitch over it and not have the brown show through. So the rest of my yarns are like slightly thicker than the brown. I think it'll hide the brown easier than if I'd chosen a different color to stitch over. But yeah, so this is the lime green that's gonna be all the way up this side and up this side. And yeah, I'm really excited. This yarn is just so nice to work with. It's like hand dyed, superwash merino wool. I'm using mostly doubled fingering weight yarns, so it gives it a DK weight gauge. And then some of these are DK weight. And actually this blue, this is kind of like, it looks darker in the video, but it's more of like a bright royal blue. It's a sport weight yarn, and I doubled that too. So it's slightly thicker than the rest of it, but that's okay. So anyways, this is it. 47 rows in, I've got 120 to do. So I'm not trying to rush on this. It's really easy for me to be like, I would love to have this back panel done by the next podcast episode, which might happen, but I honestly don't want to rush it. And I want to feel like really relaxed when I'm working on it, not like I have a deadline. So we'll just see how far I get in 2 weeks. And I've enjoyed pretty much every second of it. The worst part of it has been the yarns tangling up. I made this crazy contraption to keep my yarns separated, and it kind of works. Everything still gets tangled somewhat, but this kind of helps keep things contained. But I have done intarsia in the past, but never with this many colors. Like any given row, I have 6 or 7 different colors going, and it's fun, but it is tedious. So anyways, that's gonna definitely be really, really fun to keep working on, and I'm excited about that. But that's it. Those are my 2 works in progress right now, is my Stephen West Starry sweater and Magical Son cardigan. And I have some finished objects. You have seen this multiple times now. I've had some adventures with this. This is well, it's for my husband, but it's the single malt sweater by Max the Knitter, and it's done. I had length to add here, or I had to shorten the length here, shorten the sleeves, but then I did everything too short and had to re-lengthen it, but that's all done now. He wore it on Sunday to lead worship in, which is great because I wanted him to be able to like do something like strum, like he was standing up there strumming his guitar, and the sleeves fit well and he was comfortable in them. So I feel great about this. It's done. And I don't know if any of y'all do this, but when you hand knit a garment, there's no like tag in it. So it's hard to tell if it's not obvious that the front and back are really different. It's hard to tell what the front and back are. So I put this little lime green scrap in here, and you can't see it from the other side, but this is like his tag. So he knows that this is the back of the sweater. Does anyone else do that? I don't know. But yeah, I'm just so happy this is done. And 70 degrees in February. I don't know how many more days he's gonna have to wear it, but hopefully it'll fit next winter. Either way, I'm very happy to have it done. Also, finished object is this flamingo embroidery that I have shown y'all multiple times now. And There's probably more I could do to it, but honestly, I'm just done. Remember last time I shared that I didn't feel done with it, and it wasn't a drag to work. I was still enjoying working on it, and I didn't know what else I needed to do with it, but sorry, my neighbors are out there, my door's open. But yeah, something happened this past week or so, and I was just like, I'm done. I know I'm turning it into a project bag, so I don't have the pressure. I shared this last time. I don't have the pressure of it needing to feel like a finished piece of art. It can be, it can just be what it is. It was an experiment that I learned a lot through, and I still, I love it for that reason, even though it's very, very far from perfect. So I'm excited to turn this into a project bag in the next couple weeks, and that'd be that. So all done with the embroidery portion of this. But y'all, last time, I keep saying this, but last episode I shared that I wanted to knit down a sweater, and I was hoping to start it by this episode. Well, I started it last Wednesday and I finished it last night. And it's very, very simple garter stitch sweater that I added a little extra to, but I just can't believe how fast it went. I guess I was just in the mood for it. I knew I wanted it done because winter's, not over here, but we're not gonna get that many more cold days. So I really wanted Den to be able to wear this. So yeah, again, I forgot to put my little scrap yarn tag in here, but I think this is the front. So this is the little sweater I made. How cute. So it was just like a basic garter stitch pattern, which you can see there's the garter stitch pattern. This is all just acrylic yarn I got from the thrift store. I picked my this brown is pretty soft, and I'm hoping it'll soften up even more when I wash it. But he won't be wearing it directly against his skin anyways. He always wears at least like a thin long sleeve t-shirt under his sweaters. So I'm thinking it'll be fine. But these bright colors are just were way too scratchy to incorporate in the actual knitting, because the pattern that I used, again, just a basic knit the front panel, knit the back panel, knit 2 sleeves, and sew it all together. But it's color blocked in the pattern, which I really liked. So they had half of it was one color and half was another, and then the sleeves were color blocked, which I really do like that style. But I just didn't have another yarn that I felt like was soft enough to go directly against his body. So I knit the whole thing in brown, and I was just gonna leave it in brown because it's just a basic brown sweater. But I just can't do basic stuff, y'all. I have a really hard time. I mean, y'all can see everything I'm making, even what I'm wearing today, is just I just love working with multiple colors. It's if I want just a neutral piece, I just go buy it. I just go to the thrift store, go wherever, and buy it, and then make my more statement pieces, which is fun. Not every knitter is like that, which is fine, totally fine. But that's just kind of, I guess, the kind of maker I am. But yeah, so I had these 2 oranges, this kind of rusty orange and this super bright orange, that I thought would be pretty to add onto this, and I was gonna do some sort of embroidery on the front. But then I decided I was gonna try to learn this technique where you use a crochet hook and you basically slip stitching over it. It's like an embroidery over knitting technique, using a crochet hook. And it just I did all of this in a day, all of the squiggles. I'm calling it Den Squiggle Sweater. This is the back. So I had the pieces, I kept the pieces flat. So I had the shoulders, the shoulder and the first seam of the sleeves done, so it could be all just one big flat piece. And crocheted all my squiggles. I tried to make sure my lines connected, that it goes under the seam because I didn't want to go over the seam. But yeah, it just, because I wanted it to look like a piece of kind of like canvas that had been drawn all over and then cut up and made into a sweater, if that makes sense. So yeah, so this is what I ended up with. And I did do I don't know if you can see that. I did crochet the pieces together instead of doing like a mattress stitch seam or something more invisible, but I wanted just like a little bit of a extra piece of interest to the sweater. So I did all the seams with a crochet hook, and it's flat on the inside of the sweater. So it's got like this seam bump on the outside, and so that's kind of fun too. But yeah, Den hasn't actually tried this on yet because he won't let me put it on him when it's in progress. He gets like really freaked out by all the strings and stuff. So I measured this against one of his sweaters that fits him now. And I mean, that's the sweater I like used this whole time for like measuring my gauge and figuring out stitch count and all that stuff. And it matches pretty well with the sweater he already has. And since it's acrylic, when I wash it, it shouldn't grow. I don't know if it'll shrink. I hope it doesn't shrink. I've never had an acrylic thing shrink, but you know, wool usually when you wash it, it'll grow, but acrylic should just sort of stay. I'm hoping it softens, but it should stay the same size. And then maybe he'll let me put it on him. He likes wearing sweaters, but not when there's extra strings attached, I guess. So anyways, I'm excited to get some cute pictures of him in this. You probably won't see it again on this podcast. So I guess look at my Instagram if you want to find some pictures of Den in it. But yeah, my Instagram is @fieldofskye. I'll put it in the description, but in case you didn't know. So anyways, yeah, so I finished JD's sweater, this sweater for Den, and my flamingo embroidery past couple weeks. And that just feels really good, especially because those were JD's sweater and this sweater for Den were kind of the last two things that I had to make for family, at least in the near future. And the rest of the projects are kind of just like stuff for me that I've been wanting to make. And that's just exciting. I love knitting for other people, but I get a bit burnt out when it's only for other people because it's not quite as fun to not have something to wear myself. Y'all know, people call it selfish knitting when you make stuff for yourself. I call it just normal creating because you can't just ignore yourself. Okay, so those are all my finished objects I have to show. I do have kind of like a new segment I want to do here that I don't really see in a lot of knitting podcasts, but it is a normal part of making things that you have things that break. So break or stop fitting right or whatever. And I'm a firm believer in making things last as long as you can before tossing them. It's better for the environment, and it's leads to more creative living, I think, anyways. So I wanted to start a new segment after sharing things I finished for things that I am needing to mend or remake. And I want to share it with y'all just to start the conversation of like fixing things you've made that aren't working the way you want them to work, or they've, torn or, need mending for some reason. Just so y'all can see like what it looks like in, the normal lifespan of a knitted or handmade object, but also because it's really inspiring and motivating for me to share with y'all like, hey, I want to do this thing in the next 2 weeks, because then I feel like I have more accountability to actually get it done. So I have one project that I would like to get done in the next 2 weeks and then show y'all that I did it. And it's these socks. So I made these socks this summer. I really wanted some ankle socks, kind of no-show ankle socks that I could wear with my tennis shoes. And I love them. They fit great, except that I didn't put enough of a cuff in it. So they're both made the same I mean, I just made up the pattern. It's just like a plain vanilla sock pattern with like stockinette, like a short cuff and stockinette around. But yeah, I basically went straight from this ribbed cuff to the heel, and I was hoping that would be enough to keep it on my foot, but not too much, not so much that you'd see it over my shoe. And they both are just, it's not enough space between the cuff and the heel, so it just slips down off my foot. And because it's not very much, I really need more rows here in between the cuff and the heel, because this part really gets stretched bad, like on the part of your foot, and like from your ankle. You think of a foot, like you've got your ankle and then you've got like the top of your foot here, and it gets skinnier as you go up your leg, and that's where you want your sock to hit. But I had it like going down here, and it just like would stretch out really bad, and that's another reason why I would fall. So I have no idea if that made any sense. Either way, I need to add more. I mean, it's an easy fix. It's basically just picking up stitches under the cuff, unraveling the cuff, and then knitting. I think I want to try like 8 stockinette rows in between the heel and this cuff, and then reknit the cuff and see. I need to just do one pair, see if that works, and then do the other pair. So yeah, because I haven't been able to wear these, and I've been really wanting more socks. I've been thinking like, okay, can I make some more socks? But I've had these just sitting with my yarn scraps because they're waiting to be fixed, and I've got 2 pairs of socks that are basically done. I just need to take the time to, it's more fun to start something new than go back and fix things you've already made and lost interest in. But yeah, I think that's why I want to start this segment, because it will be motivating, because I do want to fix these and wear them, but I just haven't made it happen. So hopefully next 2 weeks I'll have 2 fixed pair of socks that I can wear. Yeah, and that's basically all I had to share with y'all. I think the last little section was future plans, just what I'm hoping to work on the next couple weeks. I'd really love to finish that Stephen West sweater, the Starry sweater, because 2 weeks will take us like near the end of February, and then once it gets like near the end of February, beginning of March here, it's not really cold enough for heavy sweaters anymore. So I'd love to wear it at least once before the season ends. It's not too heavy of a sweater, but it's like a legit sweater, so it's not something I could wear into spring, I don't think. We'll see, but I would like to finish that sweater in 2 weeks, and then I would really like, I've been talking about sewing the past few episodes, and I really want to pull out my sewing machine and get some bags sewn, some project bags sewn, because I'm getting desperate, and have had all these ideas for wall hangings. We're still settling in our home. We don't have a lot of color on the walls yet because we just haven't hung a lot of stuff on the walls. So all our walls are white. I've got my green plants, which is nice, but everything else is pretty neutral, because that's just, I like neutral things and then have colorful accessories and art. And I just haven't gotten my colorful accessories and art up. But I really want to make some new things for our home, and I've been dying to make these, I guess they're kind of like quilted wall hangings, but don't think like traditional quilts, because I don't know how to quilt, but also design wise, it'll be more like bold, abstract, whatever. And then I want to do embroidered lines and shapes over it. So, but yeah, so it'd basically be like a textile tapestry. But yeah, so I really want to do some sewing, and of course I'll keep working on my magical Son cardigan, and I just have to show you next time how far I get on it. Yeah, I'm starting to, my energy's starting to wane. I don't know why. Well, thank you so much for watching, and please let me know if you have any questions. In the comments. A few of you have been commenting regularly, and I really appreciate it. I love the conversation, and I want to know if there's more I should be sharing or something else you're interested in me sharing. I'm definitely an open book, and I want to be doing that for y'all. I'll have links to all the patterns I've referenced in the description along with my Instagram, so you can kind of see stuff over the next couple weeks before the next episode goes up. And yeah, I think that's it. Hope y'all are doing well, and I'll see you next one. Bye.